the final of these, final side I've got to play of these lovely Lyntone flexible records produced in the 1960s, copies of the 1920s 12-inch 78 RPM shellac records. This is South Wales, D. Hayden Davies, Merdy. Standard passage, extracts from The Poacher, a very famous Welsh drama. I've got the record of it actually somewhere. Selection from Change, Runt from the Runda dialect, both by J.O. Francis. Can you hear that wind blowing? There's a gale blowing outside today. Let's get the CDR going.
Then you see I'm in the right about that, boys. The little girl coming from the school over by there, past the beast house. Now there she is, going down the road through the red gate, on the left-hand side of the road. Hey, look, the silly girl has gone straight up to the door of the wrong house. There's a little tup. What's the matter with her? That's just the place she's likely to meet that old chap who is always grumbling and crinkly and hard of hearing. All of us know him right enough, don't we? Thomas his name is, isn't it? Well, he can't bear the little children. She'll have it with him and his nasty tongue, won't she, Jess? It'll be a lesson to her not to do it again. He's a real good one, you can venture. Look here, it is true, isn't it then? Look at her hurrying away, poor little thing. That's his way right enough. Did you ever see such a sight in all the world? Here's the schoolmaster come in as well. Listen to the noise. A piece of talk from The Poacher by Geo Francis. I may tell you, Thomas Sean, that as far as the Band of Hope is concerned, I have made myself personally responsible for you to my fellow deacons. It's very kind of you, I'm sure, Mr. Hughes. Well, then, we may look upon that as settled, then. To tell you the truth, Mr. Hughes, there's something on my mind. Oh, indeed. Perhaps I can help you, Thomas Sean. It's that rabbit down there in the big field. Rabbit, Thomas Sean? Rabbit? Yes. Old Soldier, as they call him. Perhaps you've heard about Old Soldier, Mr. Hughes? Old Soldier. That's the rabbit nobody can catch, Thomas Sean. They've all failed so far. I failed myself pretty often. But I could catch him now. Indeed? And how did you discover this great secret, Thomas Sean? Well, you know, Mr. Hughes, from where I am sitting in Carmel, you can see through the windows by the pulpit right up to the big field here. That's true. I don't know how it is, but I've never been able to keep my mind fixed on the sermon. Now, there was last Sunday morning. Mr. Evans was preaching on Moses viewing the promised land. He was describing it something beautiful too, was Mr. Evans. Oh, of course, it's only what you'd expect on him, a B.A., B.D. But you know, Mr. Hughes, what I couldn't help seeing in the middle of the promised land. No, well, that old rabbit. What? Yes, Old Soldier, sitting comfortable on a bit of a hill with the milk and honey around him. That's how I was picturing him to myself, with that left ear of his half shot off and a sort of a smile all over his face. I always said that window ought to be painted over. It isn't giving the preacher a fair chance. My good character wouldn't lie half so heavy on me if only I'd put it off till I'd caught Old Soldier down there. Change by Geo Francis. An old Welsh miner speaks. Who was it built the chapel up there on the hillside more than 40 years ago? Men like your father and my father, and old Job Williams and Roderick Rees the gaffer. Sober, God-fearing men that you don't see here in Aberpandy today. And how was it built, I said to you? Have you forgot so soon? Every day after coming home from the pit, every day we did a little, tired as we were, for the love of the cause. You were there, and I was there, young men just turned 20. Your father, my father, and all the others. Stone by stone we built it, with our own hands we built it, for the glory of his name. I've sat there Sunday after Sunday all these years. All that I have known noble and good, all that has given me power to go on from day to day, has come from that old chapel up there on the hill. And you think, Isaac Pugh, I'll stand by and see it lost without making a struggle?
That was a lovely record to finish on, wasn't it? Lovely Welsh poetry. Let's show you a bit of stuff from that part of the world. See if I can get it out without damaging my equipment. There we go. Idris Davis. He was a miner. Went to evening classes and educated himself. Wasn't easy to get educated in those days. That's Digby Mackworth dog. Don't worry about him. He's very interesting, but not part of this. W.H. Davis, the Supertramp. I don't know if he came from the Rhondda or not, but very famous Welsh poet. Most famous for "We Have No Time to Stand and Stare." Idris Davis. Look, the grimy faces of miners. That's Idris Davis himself from the Rhondda Valley. Wonderful, amazing poet. Wrote poems of the describing the bitterness of the Great Strike of 1926.